There's a number that shows up in almost every study on women's closets, and it's somewhere between 20 and 30 pairs of shoes. That number barely moves as women get older. What changes is the feeling. Ask a woman with 30 pairs what she's wearing tonight, and there's a good chance she'll tell you she has nothing. But there's a small group of women who never have that problem. Women who own a fraction of the options and never once feel stuck. It isn't luck, it isn't money, it's a decision. And today I'm handing you the exact 5 shoes behind it. Here's what's really at stake. A closet stuffed with 30 pairs that still produces nothing to wear isn't abundance. It's an unsolved problem that reopens every single season. But there's one shoe on this list, number 3, that trips up more women than any other, because it means giving up something they've loved for decades. We'll get there. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at your shoe closet as a problem again. Welcome to Timeless Tresses, where we solve a problem once, instead of managing it forever. If that's your kind of channel, hit subscribe. Let's get into it. This isn't a video about minimalism, and it isn't a capsule wardrobe list. It's about 5 specific shoes, why they get chosen, and why they're still being worn 10, 20, even 40 years later, while the shoes bought last spring are already falling apart somewhere in a closet. The real difference between these 2 closets was never taste, and it was never money. It was a decision made once, a long time ago, to stop shopping for shoes the way most of the world still does. Reactively, seasonally, endlessly. Shoe 1, the Ballet flat. Let's start with the one that surprises people most, because outside of certain style circles, the Ballet flat has a reputation problem. It's treated like a backup plan, the shoe you reach for when your feet are tired, when comfort has to win over everything else. A compromise, chosen by default rather than intention. I understand why it gets dismissed that way. We've all been told flats are the safe choice, the thing you settle for when the heels didn't work out. But that reputation was never built on the shoe itself. It was built on cheap versions of it flooding the market and giving the whole category a bad name. Here's the mechanism that actually separates a flat that lasts from one that doesn't, and it has nothing to do with the label inside. It's the fit at the heel. A flat that sits even slightly loose will slip with every step, and once it starts slipping, the whole shoe loses its shape and looks sloppy within a season, no matter how nice it looked in the store. Real full-grain leather also does something synthetic material simply can't. It develops a patina, a slow darkening and softening exactly where the foot moves most. Bonded leather and synthetic uppers don't age gracefully. They crack, they peel, they get thrown away long before their time. The fix is choosing a flat cut close to the foot in real leather, snug at the heel, in a color that goes everywhere: black, deep cognac, or navy. It goes under tailored trousers, under a midi skirt, under plain jeans, and does more visual work than something this simple has any right to do. Do it today. Try on any flat you already own and press 2 fingers into the back of the heel. If it slips even slightly, that's the shoe that's been quietly aging your whole outfit every time you've worn it without you realizing why. And here's something worth knowing before you shop for a replacement. The sole matters as much as the upper. A flat with a proper leather or rubber sole can be resoled at a cobbler when it wears thin, the same way the boot later on this list gets rebuilt. A flat with a glued disposable sole simply gets thrown away. And that one construction choice is often the entire difference between a shoe that lasts 2 seasons and one that lasts 20 years. That's the shoe everyone underestimates. The next one has been quietly doing the heavy lifting since the 1970s. Shoe 2, the leather loafer. There's something slightly blunt about a loafer, a refusal to be overly delicate or overly pretty, and that's exactly the appeal, used on purpose by women who've stopped dressing to please anyone else. I get why a loafer feels like it belongs in someone else's wardrobe, maybe something borrowed from menswear. That bluntness is precisely why it works so well against softer pieces. It gives an outfit somewhere to land. The mechanism, paired with wide-leg trousers, a loafer lengthens the whole line of the leg because there's no visual interruption at the ankle. The eye reads one continuous shape from hip to floor. Paired with a pleated skirt at the right length, it creates a contrast between something structured and something soft that's been photographed on stylish women for 50 years and still reads as deliberate, never dated. The fix is a classic penny loafer or a snaffle bit style in calf leather, black or warm tan, with a low heel, somewhere between 2 and 3 centimeters. That small lift adds structure without making the shoe impractical for actually walking on actual streets, actual errands, actual days that don't slow down for your feet. Do it today. Pull out your wide-leg trousers and try them with the flattest, cleanest shoe you own instead of a sneaker. Notice how much longer your leg reads instantly, without changing a single other thing about the outfit. This is the shoe worn on the days a woman isn't thinking about her shoes at all, which, once you understand what these 5 shoes are really for, turns out to be most days. But the third shoe is where most women get stuck, because it means giving something up. Shoe 3, the low-heeled pump. Here's the one I promised you. Somewhere past 60, walking in a very high heel for hours stops making sense for most of us, no matter how much we loved the way it looked. And most women arrive at that moment without a replacement already chosen, which is exactly why this shoe matters so much, and exactly why it's the one that trips people up. I completely understand the grief in giving up a heel you loved for decades. It wasn't just a shoe, it was a feeling, a posture, a version of yourself you liked seeing in the mirror. Nobody warns you that the replacement can give you almost the exact same feeling back. Here's the mechanism. At a height of roughly 4 to 6 centimeters, either a block heel or a rounded kitten heel, your body weight distributes correctly across the foot. That means the shoe can be worn for an entire evening without the damage a taller heel causes over time, and it can handle uneven pavement or an uneven venue floor without a second thought crossing your mind. The fix is a plain, confident black, or a warm camel or tobacco leather, and specifically avoiding a glossy patent finish or an extremely pointed toe, both of which date a shoe almost immediately, no matter how new it is. When the heel wears down, this is the pair that goes to a cobbler, gets rebuilt, and comes right back into rotation instead of getting replaced entirely. Do it today. If you have a kitten heel or block heel sitting unworn, because you assumed it wasn't special enough for evening, take it out for your next dinner or gathering. It'll surprise you how dressed up it still reads, and how much longer you'll actually enjoy the night in it. Shoe 4, quick one. The ankle boot. This one's fast, because it's simply the workhorse of the entire collection. It covers autumn, winter, and early spring without needing to be swapped for anything else. Under jeans, under wide trousers, under a midi skirt with a heavy knit sweater, disappearing into the outfit exactly the way a genuinely useful object should. Deep black or weathered dark brown, heel flat or close to it, non-negotiable. The reason it survives for years comes down to one construction detail, the Goodyear welt, a strip of leather stitched around the perimeter connecting the upper to the sole. Without a welt, once the sole wears through, the shoe is finished. With one, the sole gets replaced over and over, while the boot itself stays exactly the same, sometimes for decades. Shoe 5, the white leather sneaker. And here's the one people are always most surprised to see on this list. Not a running shoe, not a technical sneaker with mesh panels and bright accents. Nothing about it signals sport in any way where. Here's a quick story. A client of mine spent years assuming sneaker automatically meant casual gym wear and refused to let one anywhere near a real outfit. The day she finally tried a plain white leather sneaker under straight-leg jeans and a linen shirt, she told me it solved a problem she'd been fighting for a decade, looking put together and being comfortable on her feet for 8 hours straight, at the same time, without compromising on either. The mechanism is the material. This sneaker is flat, clean, made from the same real full-grain leather as everything else on this list, with a thin, simple sole. Because it's leather instead of canvas or synthetic, it can be cleaned, conditioned, and maintained the same way the rest of your shoes are. It doesn't yellow and get thrown out after 2 summers the way a canvas pair inevitably does. It develops the same kind of patina as the Ballet flat, a slight warmth building at the toe and along the edges over years of wear. The fix is pairing it with the same tailored trousers you might otherwise wear with the loafer or with straight-leg jeans and a plain shirt. A 10-year-old white leather sneaker, properly cared for, looks different from a brand new one. It doesn't look worse. It looks chosen and then taken care of, because that's exactly what happened to it. Do it today. If you own a white sneaker already, check the upper. If it's canvas or synthetic, that's the one detail worth upgrading before anything else on this list, since it's the piece most likely to end up in the donation pile within 2 years anyway. How the 5 actually work together. Now that you know all 5, here's how they actually function as a system rather than 5 separate purchases. Think about a typical week. Monday, running errands, the loafer with jeans, or the sneaker if you're on your feet all day. A weekday dinner, the low pump, without a second thought about your feet by the time dessert arrives. A weekend with a midi skirt and a heavy sweater, the ankle boot, disappearing into the outfit exactly as it should. A relaxed Sunday, the ballet flat with soft trousers, effortless and done in 10 seconds. And any day you want to feel both comfortable and pulled together, the white sneaker, doing quiet double duty. Notice what's missing from that week: decision fatigue. There's no standing in front of 30 pairs wondering which one is right. Each shoe already has its job, and once you know the job, the choice makes itself. There's also a maintenance rhythm worth mentioning, because it's the quiet reason these shoes last as long as they do. A soft brush and a leather conditioner once every few weeks keeps the material supple instead of letting it dry out and crack. Cedar shoe trees, if you can manage them, help each pair keep its shape between wears instead of collapsing in on itself in the closet. And the moment any of the 5 starts to show real wear at the sole, a trip to a cobbler, not a trip to a store, is the move. That single habit, repeated for years, is the entire difference between a shoe collection that grows and one that just gets replaced on a loop. 3 outfits that show the system in action. Let's make this concrete with a few outfits you could put together this week using nothing but these 5 shoes. For a weekday lunch with a friend, a soft blouse tucked loosely into straight-leg trousers, with the loafer underneath. The blunt shape of the loafer keeps the whole look grounded and unfussy, exactly the energy a casual lunch calls for, without reading as underdressed. For an evening out, a simple sheath dress or tailored separates with the low-heeled pump. Because the heel sits at that forgiving 4 to 6 centimeter height, you get the polish of a heel, with none of the countdown to when I can take these off feeling that used to come with anything taller. You'll actually enjoy the whole evening in them, not just the first hour. And for a weekend spent walking, whether it's a market, a museum, or just errands that add up to more steps than you planned, the white leather sneaker under jeans and a linen shirt. It carries you through hours of walking while still looking like you got dressed on purpose, not like you gave up and grabbed whatever was comfortable. Notice the pattern across all 3. The shoe was decided first, based on what the day actually required, and the rest of the outfit built around it. That's the reverse of how most closets work, where the outfit gets chosen first and the shoe becomes a last-minute scramble. Flipping that order is a small change, but it's the one that eliminates almost all the decision fatigue we started this video talking about. Before you build this collection, 2 mistakes to avoid. Before we get to the real secret behind all 5, let me save you from the 2 mistakes I see most often when women try to build this exact collection. The first mistake is buying all 5 at once, in a rush, usually after watching a video like this one. Don't do that. Buy the one you're missing that solves the most immediate problem in your actual week right now. If you're constantly reaching for the wrong shoe for dinners, start with the pump. If your feet are exhausted by 3 p.m. most days, start with the sneaker. Building this collection over a year, thoughtfully, gets you 5 shoes you'll actually wear for decades. Building it in one weekend gets you 5 expensive impulse purchases that may not even fit your actual life. The second mistake is chasing the cheapest version of each shoe because the real leather versions feel expensive up front. Here's the math worth sitting with. A $30 synthetic flat that lasts 1 season and gets replaced 5 times over 5 years costs more, in both money and hassle, than one well-made leather flat that costs more up front, but gets resold twice and lasts the whole 5 years and beyond. The sticker price is the wrong number to compare. Cost per year of actual wear is the number that matters, and it almost always favors the shoe built to be repaired over the one built to be replaced. The real secret. So that's the list. A ballet flat, a loafer, a low pump, an ankle boot, a white leather sneaker. But the real idea here isn't the list itself, it's what it represents. This was never about owning less just to own less. It's about the difference between solving a problem one time and managing that same problem forever. 30 pairs that still produce nothing to wear is an argument that never actually gets settled, because most of those pairs were never built to survive more than a couple of years of real use in the first place. They wear out, they get replaced, and the exact same question comes right back around every single season. 5 shoes, chosen properly, cover every situation a normal life actually requires. And every one of them was built to last for decades, provided you take care of it. Buy it once, buy it properly, and stop thinking about it. That one shift, treating a solved problem like it's actually solved, is worth more than any brand name or price tag. It's the real reason some women's shoes are still standing in their closets after decades, while everyone else is still out shopping for pair number 31. If you're starting from zero, here's exactly where to begin. Walk into any shop carrying real leather footwear and ask, specifically, these 3 questions. Is the sole resolable? Is the upper full-grain leather? And does the heel sit snug rather than loose when you walk a few steps in it? Any salesperson worth your money can answer all 3 without hesitation. If they can't, that's information too. It tells you this particular pair probably isn't built for the long game we've been talking about today. Give yourself permission to take this slowly. You don't need all 5 by next month. You need one good decision this month, and then another good decision a few months from now, until one day you look down and realize you're standing in exactly the collection we walked through today, chosen on purpose, worn on purpose, and still holding up years later, while everything bought in a rush has long since been replaced. You've earned the right to stop reopening the same question every season, and to spend that mental energy on something that actually deserves it. If this helped you look at your own shoe closet differently, hit like and subscribe. I've got a lot more of this coming every week. And tell me in the comments, which of these 5 do you already own, and which one are you adding next? I read every single one.